From the years 1913 to 1916, Carl Gustav Jung engaged in a peculiar experiment. By deliberately suppressing the ego, he allowed the unconscious imagery of dreams to freely enter his awareness. He thus found that his mind became flooded with prophetic visions and images, and he transcribed his experiences into what became known as the Red Book, or Liber Novus. Liber Primus, Part 1 of Liber Novus, documents Jung's confrontation with the chaotic nature of the so-called spirit of the depths, encountering symbolic figures who represent different aspects of his psyche. His experiences during this time revealed to Jung the importance of recognizing the underlying unity of opposites and the need to reconcile such dualities in order to give birth to one's authentic self. In this video, I provide a simplified abridgment of this unique and insightful text. The Way of What Is to Come. Isaiah prophesied about a figure, despised and rejected, who would bear our sorrows and grief. John declared that the Word became flesh, dwelling among us with glory and truth. Isaiah's vision contained a transformed wilderness, where the blind see, the deaf hear, and the lame leap. Waters flow in the desert, turning parched land into abundance, with a sacred highway called the Way of Holiness. This imagery depicts a profound spiritual renewal. In the spirit of this time, I must proclaim without justification, driven by a deeper force. The spirit of the depths, beyond contemporary values, compels me to speak without pride or arrogance. This spirit took away my belief in science and led me to the inexplicable and paradoxical. The supreme meaning, emerging of sense and nonsense, is the path to the God yet to come. The spirit of this time tempts me to reject the everyday as part of the Godhead, but the spirit of the depths insists it is essential. I speak not freely, but out of necessity, as the spirit robs me of joy and life if I remain silent. Understanding is a bridge, but explaining can be arbitrary and even destructive. The spirit of this time labels my words as madness, but the spirit of the depths affirms their truth, recognizing the greatness, intoxication, and ugliness of madness as intrinsic aspects of existence. I must speak of the ridiculous, the supreme meaning found in laughter and worship. Sacrifice, symbolized by bloody laughter, is the foundation for what is to come. The spirit of the depths insists that sacrifice is necessary, as seen in monasteries and those who embrace solitude. A vision in 1913, and recurring dreams in 1914, hinted at impending disasters, aligning with the outbreak of World War I. I share these not as teachings, but as news of my path, while cautioning against following my example. Life's path is within, not in external teachings or laws. I am not a saviour or teacher. Seek your own way. Reject the imposition of laws and teachings. Let each person find their unique path. Trust in the natural order of life to guide us, acknowledging the world's imperfections with patience. Refinding the Soul. Having achieved worldly success, I felt a deep inner longing and horror, prompting a dialogue with my soul. I realized the spirit of the depths was in contradiction with contemporary beliefs, seeing the soul as a living, independent being. This revelation led me to address my soul, acknowledging that my prior understanding of it was as a lifeless concept. The spirit of the depths compelled me to speak to my soul as something distant, existing not through me, but through whom I existed. Soul and God. I recognized the soul's transformative role in shaping my life's journey. Over time, I learned to appreciate dreams as the soul's guiding words, and I contemplated its riddles. Rejecting societal judgments, I understood the limitations of the spirit of the times and learned to consider actions and decisions as influenced by dreams. The knowledge of the heart, which is unavailable in books or teachings, could only be gained by fully living one's life, including the unexplored aspects. To attain true understanding, you acknowledge the duality within your heart, both good and evil. The spirit of the depths emphasizes living the life you could still live, prioritizing well-being beyond personal or societal concerns. Despite societal expectations, accept being a symbol of your soul, while cultivating humility. Recognize your soul as a child teaching humility. The spirit of the depths reveals that the divine child encompasses your life, bringing vitality. Embrace self-mockery, denying separation from the divine. The path of Christ, marked by pain, is unavoidable, and leads to what is to come. You must become Christ's, overcoming old teachings despite the mockery of the devils within. On the service of the soul. Over several nights, I recorded dreams as instructed by my soul, though the purpose eluded me. Doubts and fears arose as I questioned the path laid out by my soul. Must I abandon meaning? Fear surfaced as I faced disorder, realizing that God is both love and terror. Opening the door to chaos and fear is essential, as this leads to the divine child, which is the supreme meaning beyond order and disorder. Submission to what we fear, and even learning to love what horrifies us, is a necessary step towards salvation. Recognize that virtues can hinder salvation and should be discarded. The mastery of the soul involves becoming both servant and master. Although I was hesitant, the Spirit compelled me to continue the inner journey. The desert. On the 6th night, my soul led me into the desert of self, a barren and hot expanse. Questioning why myself is a desert, I realized I had lived too much outside myself. The journey, away from the world, led to solitude with my thoughts. Solitude is true only when the self is a desert. Detaching from my thoughts, I felt the desert's torment, fueled by unquiet desire. To endure beyond things, men, and thoughts is a torment many cannot bear. It is thus that the ancients went into the desert to find their soul, teaching that the place of the soul is a lonely expanse. We must reflect on ancient images, as they foretell the collapse of empires, and both growth and decay. The word is a creative act, and in the beginning was the word. The oldest and truest words oscillate between nonsense and supreme meaning. Experiences in the desert. After a challenging struggle, I approached my soul, acknowledging my emptiness and seeking solace. My soul cautioned against pleasure-seeking and impatience, reminding me of the purpose of my journey to the desert. It stressed the importance of waiting and cautioned against intentions, emphasizing that truth reveals itself to those without preconceived notions. My soul challenged my self-perception, pointing out the limitations of intentions. It urged me to grow like a tree that does not know its own laws. I confessed to suffering from self-scorn, but my soul questioned my understanding of myself. It emphasized the need to lay down vanity and to recognize that my hands are vessels to be filled. After 25 nights in the desert, my soul emerged as a separate, freestanding being, offering salutary words that confronted my self-scorn. The spirit of the time, which is marked by cleverness, mocks simple-mindedness, but wisdom is found in embracing simple-mindedness. Overcoming scorn, I neared my soul, and I witnessed the desert turn green. Descent into hell in the future. In a night filled with voices, I faced a dreadful deep confusion. The spirit of the depths revealed the world of my soul, a grey rock face leading to a dark cave. In the cave, I encountered voices, a red stone, and a disturbing vision of a wounded man in bloody waters. Stunned, I committed to trusting my soul even through madness. I asked for protection from the dangers of too much knowledge. The blooming desert brought forth strange plants. I realized that divine madness is essential for connecting with the soul. The spirit of the depths overpowers the madness of the spirit of the time, emphasizing the importance of balance and godliness. During 25 nights in the desert, I devoted myself to my soul, while in the days I dealt with worldly matters. Distinguishing between sick delusion and divine delusion is a matter of finding balance. Divine madness, love, soul, and God are both beautiful and terrifying. A red light revealed a murder in the depths of the future, symbolized by a slain hero and a black beetle. Events are meaningless in themselves, for we create their meaning. You must seek the meaning within to shape the way of salvation. The supreme meaning stands between events and the soul, which is a mediator, bridge, and path. I recognize my part in the murder. I recognize that we all share in this murder, and that it gives rise to the reborn one, which is the son of the depths. This cosmic drama is echoed in current events. Men wield weapons against their brothers because they don't realize that their brother is themselves. Frightful events are necessary for the ripening of humanity. The fate of peoples is reflected in events. Your hero may be slain, but this leads to the rising sun of the depths, where a new life is born from the source of blood. The darkness within you shall come to life, bringing with it torment and evil thoughts. You must experience your own abyss, as it mirrors the devilish acts inflicted by others. The murdered hero signifies a threat to the inner ruler, which is the spirit of the time. This ruler, adorned with virtues, strives for ascent but cannot succeed. We must learn to live with our limitations, valuing small things and wisely limiting ourselves. We must embrace our incapacity, for this leads to inner capability. When we erase heroism, we are plunged into the misery of humanity, but we must live with our incapacity rather than denying it. Splitting of the spirit. The next night, the desert journey unveiled invisible beings and hellish magic. The spirit of the depths advises descent, but I resist, angered by its seemingly absurd instructions. My soul claims a light beyond this world, leading to a clash with my understanding. The soul asserts control over thoughts and words, exposing their origin. We engage in a metaphorical civil war. Frustrated, I challenge the soul's changing masks from God to devil in an inner struggle. The vision mirrors a desert path with invisible threats. In a second vision, I saw an assassin, symbolizing inner turmoil and betrayal. The king represents my ideal, triggering a vision of civil war within, where I am both murderer and murdered. The fate of the people reflects this inner conflict, seeking a scapegoat for collective sins. Learn from the crucified God that even a deity can be betrayed and crucified when it ceases to guide life. The god becomes sick if it exceeds its zenith. The spirit of the depths intervenes as the spirit of the time leads me to the summit. Murder of the hero. The next night, I had a vision in the mountains with a youth. We awaited our enemy, armed, and when he approached in a chariot of bones, we shot him down. I fled, tormented, feeling I must kill myself unless I solved the riddle of the hero's murder. The spirit of the depths revealed the highest truth is one with the absurd. This insight liberated me. I realized that to overcome our gods, we must confront the absurdity within ourselves. Meaning and absurdity coexist, each defining the other. The death of the hero symbolizes the struggle for renewal, leading to rebirth and the emergence of a new god. The conception of the god. On the second night thereafter, I express skepticism about the authenticity of this new world. The spirit of the depths responds with an eruption, proclaiming the birth of a divine child that embodies paradoxes. The child's realm extends to those in disgrace and resentment, offering gifts to those who bend before it. The child's life is intertwined with self-overcoming and the betrayal of faith. The divine child emerges from the ambiguity of opposites, emphasizing the relativity of beauty, goodness, and other absolutes. After his death, Christ descended to hell as a necessary transformation. He had to unite with his Antichrist to reach heaven, symbolizing the union of opposites. The conviction in the value of the good and beautiful allows life to fulfill both bound and yearning aspects, recognizing the force and value of the hateful and bad. In facing the depths, one must acknowledge fear and avoid heroic posturing. The depths may seem hostile, desiring to devour and ensnare. The journey involves offering the sweet drink of life to dead matter, transforming it into serpents that bring transformation. Awakening the dead requires reflecting on evil before the ascent, which begins in darkness and hell. Hell, in essence, is realizing what one can no longer attain, and being responsible for unwanted thoughts and actions. The deepest hell is the recognition of hell's ambiguity, as it can also be heaven. Ambiguity is the way of life, while unequivocalness leads to death. Love, often considered unequivocal, is inherently ambiguous. Living ambiguity is challenging, but leads to immortality. The birth of the god occurs when the hero is slain, and opposing forces merge. The god is born from the human soul, but goes unnoticed until the tension of opposites brings awareness. Embracing the god involves recognizing one's role as both its enemy and advocate. The god emerges only after the hero is slain, as perfection breeds envy among the gods. Imitation was once crucial, but a new era devoid of heroes and imitation is imminent. The new god rejects discipleship and forces men through himself, imitating his own nature. There is a dichotomy of the singleness within and communality outside. Solitude and acceptance of the god outside usher in a new life. The cold of outer space symbolizes the god separating men, driving them to individual warmth. Selfish desire ultimately leads to self-realization and the birth of the divine sun within. Solitude reveals personal incapacity and a shared struggle, dissolving the need for heroism and the overthrow of outdated gods. Mysterium encounter. In a dark depth, I encounter an old prophet, Elijah, with a serpent. We enter a dark house with a bright stone reflecting symbolic images. Elijah introduces his blind daughter, Salome, who expresses love, but I resist, haunted by her past. Elijah defends her love for a holy man and insists on their eternal connection. I am appalled at the paradox of a holy prophet and a bloodthirsty woman being one. The choice to stay or return is mine, and Salome temptingly offers glimpses of the future. I resist, longing for the upper world, questioning the legitimacy of their union. Elijah challenges me to understand their mysterious unity, presenting a profound contradiction. I follow Elijah and witness a bewildering play involving Salome. Doubt and fear grip me, questioning my feelings for her and her connection to the divine. The spirit of the depths suggests acknowledging Salome's divine power and questions my need to love her. The experience is personal, and its secrets are mine alone. To enter one's own depths, judgment, taste, and pride must be shed. Embrace both the worthless and worthy, navigating through the mysteries with hope as a guide. The scene shifts to a deep, volcanic interior, symbolizing chaos and the primordial beginning. Immersed in chaos, I become part of the unformed, connecting with the powers of darkness and divine forces. The powers within me are forethinking, which is represented by Prometheus, and pleasure, which is the force that desires and destroys forms. Forethinking is a seer, like Elijah, and pleasure is blind, like Salome. Both principles are equally old and interdependent. Only in man do they appear separate. The serpent, as a third principle, signifies the unconscious essence in humans, connecting forethinking and pleasure. It embodies the earthly nature of man, which is subject to change. The serpent alternately enslaves individuals to forethinking or pleasure, causing errors in life. Balancing both principles is essential, yet people often favour one over the other. Life's way, like the serpent, moves between forethinking and pleasure, serving as both an adversary and a bridge connecting opposites. Elijah and Salome's dwelling symbolises the contrast between forethinking's limited, dark space and pleasure's expansive, bright garden. The thinker fears pleasure, while the feeler fears forethinking. The recognition of loving Salome unveils a thinker's suppressed feeling, emphasising the importance of embracing one's opposite principle for a holistic understanding. Elijah highlights the sanctifying power of love, urging individuals to accept both pleasure and thought on their respective journeys. Instruction. On the next night, I find myself in a rocky crater facing a house with columns. Salome, accompanied by the serpent, walks along a wall. The old man, Elijah, gestures for her to stop. I express my fatigue, confusion, and a longing that brought me here by chance. Elijah and Salome enter the house. Elijah explains the significance of Salome's love. He guides me to a darker room, questioning my anxiety and ignorance. Elijah challenges me to recognize the meaning behind Salome's love and confronts my evasion. Salome, claiming to be my sister, adds to the confusion by identifying Mary as our mother. I question their sanity and whether they are symbols. Elijah asserts their reality, leaving me in silent uncertainty as the serpent encircles a flame, and a lion leads the way outside into a cold, starry night. Acknowledging one's yearning is crucial and requires honesty. Avoiding self-awareness leads to living an alien life. A life dedicated to others is an apish imitation, causing mutual deception and turning everyone into apes. Fear of loneliness and defeat prevents us from abandoning apishness. Living oneself means being one's own task, though it involves long suffering. Creating oneself starts with embracing the worst and deepest aspects. The image of the Mother of God with the child symbolizes this mystery of transformation. The union of forethinking and pleasure gives rise to the divine Son within, a symbol of creation. Although I am not the Son of God, I represent him as I participate in the transformative process, which serves as a conduit for divine will in the world. The symbolic transformation commands, and one becomes its servant. The symbol becomes a powerful and enigmatic image, influencing internal and external realms. Sinking into the symbol facilitates personal change and transformation, bridging the gap between opposing aspects of the self. I clung to order, rejecting chaos, believing God was a part of myself. But my thoughts, like the world, are not myself. They're alive and dead, growing like a forest. Freedom in thoughts, like freedom in the world, is conditional. Change what endangers your welfare and embrace transformation. Well-being guides better than the law. Salome's embrace made me a prophet, finding pleasure in the primordial beginning. Beware of thinking oneself significant due to visions, risking madness and foolish imitation. My thinking is the son of forethinking, and my pleasure the daughter of love. Christ, born of Mary, told Salome about the unity of male and female. Forethinking is the procreative, love is the receptive, and both are beyond this world. Understanding and pleasure exist here, the rest is mystery. Resolution. Longing to continue experiencing the mysteries, I encounter a vision of battling serpents, one black, the other white. The black serpent initially dominates the other, but then it transforms, becoming partly white. The serpent leads me to a tiny house snuggled against a rock. Shrinking, I realize I'm at the foundation of the underworld, standing before Elijah's house. Perplexed, I confess my confusion to Elijah, who scolds me for overreaching. He instructs me to prepare in the crystal's light. A vision unfolds of a stone surrounded by fire, evoking fear. The divine child appears with serpents, and Salome claims, "You are Christ." The serpent coils around me, mimicking Christ's crucifixion. Salome witnesses a transformative light. The serpent falls away, and Elijah instructs me to write down my visions. Salome is mesmerized by Elijah's radiant transformation, but I exit, feeling detached. In pursuit of heavenly love, I navigate a conflict between love and forethinking, represented by the serpents. The struggle symbolizes the internal battle within every individual, affecting the collective human experience. Embracing a pure principle may lead to one-sidedness. Forethinking in the Heavenly Mother's principle becomes a dwarfish figure, offering false wisdom. The hero, striving for purity, falls for the serpent. Love and thinking are intertwined, each incomplete without the other. In love, form is insignificant, while in thinking, it's revered. Man grapples with balancing too much or too little in both. The spirit of the time rushes us, discarding futurity and past. To escape this, we must delve into the mysteries of Christ, realizing that each person becomes a Christ themselves, as seen in the symbolism of saints. Desire for self-understanding led to inner turmoil. Accepting your desires, even the darkest ones, is crucial. By embracing the inner conflict, you pave the way for self-sacrifice, an essential step in the mystery of personal transformation. The horrors of war, symbolic of the inner struggle, serve a purpose, to turn attention inward. The symbol of the crystal represents the unalterable law of events. The giant's foot and the peasant's boot signify impending bloodshed and suffering. Frightening experiences can turn one's gaze inward, shifting the focus from seeking oneself in others to finding it within. The path to perfection involves holding conflicting principles in a childlike, unified manner. Terrified of self-discovery, people often seek refuge in others. The spirit of the depths compels mankind towards self-sacrifice, leading to a union of conflicting principles. Embracing one's inner duality, symbolized by the lion and serpent, results in a transformative journey. The mystery reveals images of future experiences, yet one must earn these insights through lived experiences. And that brings us to the end of the first part of Jung's Red Book, Liber Primus. Please remember to subscribe for part 2 of this work, Liber Secundus, where Jung dives much deeper into the depths of the unconscious, discovering the process of individuation or self-realization. Thank you for listening.